Welcome to Donghua, China's bold, brash, and frankly breathtaking answer to anime. I still remember the first time I stumbled onto a Donghua. It was 2 a.m., I'd binged half of Attack on Titan, and my brain felt like mush. I clicked something called Heaven Official's Blessing on Crunchyroll, and my jaw literally hit my floor. There I was, bleary-eyed, watching a guy in flowy robes banish demons with a flick of his fan. I spilled an entire mug of coffee on my desk. That, my friends, was the moment I realized anime was about to get competition. Donghua literally means animation in Mandarin, but on YouTube it's become the buzzword for China's next-gen cartoons. Shows where dragons breathe pixel-perfect flames, swords slash through 4K ink splatters, and demigods flex Godzilla-sized muscle with the kind of smoothness that makes Studio Ghibli blush. It's the same word your grandma uses for Saturday morning kiddie shows. Only online, it headlines multi-million-dollar epics that look like a cross between a museum exhibit and an IMAX demo reel. Let's get into the numbers, because Donghua doesn't just dazzle your eyeballs, it annihilates financial records. Remember Ne Zha 2, when the monster of a movie dropped? It hauled in over $2 billion in 33 days flat. To put that in perspective, it's enough to buy every churro in Disneyland. Yes, eat cinnamon sugar stick for the next century and still have cash left to build a real-life Ne Zha roller coaster. Frozen and the Lion King? They didn't just get overtaken, they got steamrolled in chef's boots. I swear I heard Disney executives collectively exhale through their nose whistles when the number flashed on their spreadsheets. But how did China build an animation machine that vaults past Hollywood's golden goose? Let's rewind. Picture Shanghai, 1926. Two brothers, Wang Guchan and Wang Laiming, are hunched over a makeshift table, elbows caked in cell paint, trying to mimic the magic of Disney's Snow White. Their 1941 film, Princess Iron Fan, wasn't just China's first animated feature. It was Asia's first animated feature. They blended local folklore with animation tricks lifted straight from California studios. Those ink-wash strokes and hand-inked outlines planted the seeds for an art form that today can spawn entire universes with a single GPU render. And then life happens. The Cultural Revolution nearly ground creative industries to dust. And for decades, Chinese animators scrapped by on grainy propaganda films. It wasn't until the late 80s and 90s, when cable TV and home video arrived, that the embers reignited. Shanghai's Great Wall Studios produced whimsical shots like Calabash Brothers, and gritty independent outfits told ghost story classics that gave you goosebumps on par with Death Note. But budgets were tight, tech was limited, and any dream of competing with Disney or toy animation felt like wanting to race a Ferrari on a bicycle. Then came the digital revolution. Suddenly, powerful animation software and affordable computers put the tools in more hands, and streaming platforms like Bilibili, Youku, and later Crunchyroll opened global pipelines. In 2020, Funimation, remember Funimation, inked a deal with Bilibili to bring Heaven Official's Blessing to the West, and it was like cracking open a dam. Western fans, starved for fresh fantasy, slammed play next so hard their consoles almost overheated. I woke up one morning to my Twitter feed exploding with fan art of Ji Liang and Hua Cheng and thought, wait, when did my timeline become an otome game gone wild? So what makes these shows look like they were forged by digital alchemists? First, the sorcery of CGI fusion. Traditional 2D still reigns supreme, but it's being supercharged by 3D motion capture and real-time rendering engines. Take To Be Hero X, character outlines ripple with hand-drawn grace, while background shimmer in volumetric fog. Imagine Studio Ghibli stacked on top of an Unreal Engine demo. Every frame feels like a living, breathing painting you can practically reach out and touch. Here's a pro tip, though don't actually touch your TV. Then there's the ink wash renaissance. Series like Sword of Destiny digitize ancient brush techniques, simulating every grain of pigment bleeding into silk white paper. It's as if you're watching a 1,000-year-old scroll unfurl in glorious high definition, kinda like if Bob Ross reincarnated as a digital artist on SSDs. But visuals are only half the story. Donghua writers are mining China's vast mythic vault. Taoist immortals, fox spirits, legendary martial arts sects are recasting them with modern pacing, gritty stakes, and philosophical undertones. Mo Dao Zushi, for instance, isn't your average cultivation story. It's a labyrinthine epic of forbidden love, moral gray areas, and soul-shattering boss battles. I couldn't count how many live-action videos I've seen of people gasping, "No way! He just unleashed the golden core?" All of it backed by live orchestra soundtracks recorded in cavernous studios, because why settle for MIDI strings when you can have real violins melting your heart? Then we have Link Click. Imagine rotoscoping, time-lapse photography, and live-action reference combined so seamlessly that the boundary between cartoon and reality blurs. The protagonist literally steps into photographs to rewrite tragedies, and you feel every tick of that rewind in your soul. When I rewatched that infamous wedding scene rewind, I nearly choked on my ramen. Don't sleep on Legend of Hei either. This started as a crowd-funded short and exploded into an indie darling. The studio, Paper Plane Animation, ran on ramen and sheer will until investors swooned at its surreal, shape-shifting hero. A spirit cat who drifts between the mortal world and mystical realms. Critics said it made Pixar quake in their animators' boots, and honestly, I wouldn't blame them. And then there's Ne Zha 2, the juggernaut itself. Directed by Ji Sao, produced by Light Chaser Animation, this film rewrites cosmic prophecy with the swagger of a Marvel mega hit. Our hero blasts fire magic, battles sky-shaking mecha, and learns life lessons about identity, freedom, and the importance of wearing pants that don't catch a blaze. Its budget, rumored at a cool $150 million, made it one of the priciest animated features ever. Every raindrop glimmers, every explosion feels tactile, and every dragon scale glistens like an Instagram filter. Behind these creative triumphs lies an industrial uprising. Under China's 14th five-year plan, the government earmarked billions in soft loans, tax rebates, and infrastructure grants for animation districts. Places like Haidian and Beijing and Nanshan in Shenzhen sprout studio campuses where animators get free office space, subsidized housing, and even creativity allowances for after-hours art jams. Picture a building complex named Ne Zha Creative Park, complete with a statue of Ne Zha in his flaming hoops. It's capitalism powered by myth, and it's working. Compare that to Japan, where studios groan under debt, animators clock 80-hour weeks for peanuts, and the greatest threat to your favorite series is the next production committee cutting half your lines. Word on the street is that Chinese studios now offer animators 2, 3, sometimes 10 times the salary they'd get in Tokyo. Cue frantic text messages from studio HR teams in Akihabara. Does your animator speak Mandarin? We'll trade you 2. Nope, 4 hand-drawn walk cycles for a draft of their contract. Of course, there's always a catch. In China, every script, every character design, every frame must pass the National Radio and Television Administration's red pen test. Too much blood? Cut it. Too much fan service? Not today. Too much political allegory? You'll need to tone down the metaphorical revolution. The upshot? Studios get savvy. They spin social commentary into allegorical thrillers, cloak romance in coded gestures, and package everything with export-friendly dub and subtitle tracks. All this brings us to the trillion-won question, will Donghua dethrone anime's centuries matured reign? Industry legends like Masaki Yuasa, founder of MAPPA, have cautioned that Japan's obsession with commercialization could erode its creative core. If anime studios don't start treating their talent like humans and maybe hand out free sweatpants, they might lose their edge to a dragon-fueled rival. But maybe this isn't a zero-sum war. Competition breeds creativity, right? Perhaps anime studios, jolted by China's ascent, will start offering better pay, sane schedules, and cross-cultural collabs. We might see hybrid projects, shinobi learning Taoist magic or immortal cultivators mastering ramen slurping jutsu. I, for one, would pay good money to see an Avatar-styled epic co-directed by Hayao Miyazaki and a Billy Wonderkind. Right now, the animation world is in flux. Borders blur when pixels stream across gigabit servers. Creators swap folklore and fight choreography like baseball cards. Fan conventions sprout Donghua corners, complete with cosplay contests for characters from Scissor 7 or the daily life of the Immortal King. Your local anime cafe has a new blackboard. Tonight's feature, brew Jiangxi Espresso, wake you from the dead in 3, 2, 1. So what's your take? Are you clinging to Team Anime, loyal to the land of the rising sun, its samurai mecha schoolgirl trifecta, or are you charging headlong into Team Donghua, riding the wave of dragons, cultivators, and cosmic showdowns? Or maybe you're the wild card in the back row, Team Trash Taste, sipping bubble tea, dissecting it all with a bemused smirk and a well-timed meme reference. Whatever your stance, hit the comments, stake your claim, and tell us which series made you sweat, laugh, or sob uncontrollably.